rollerblade or a smacker with that?
I know.
Right.
I was scared.
I don't know who brought this thing, but it's genius.
We need to burn.
Yeah.
Let's see some of the ways that AutoMagic helps you prevent spelling errors as you work. Word reversals are just one of the small problems that AutoMagic understands. This question should have been, is she still working there? Pressing 5 is a fast way to reverse these words. This should have been working, but I need a different suffix. Pressing 2 here would be a fast way to pick suffix ing. Here's another suffix problem. This should have been on the form. Yes. Pressing 3 makes that correction. And now AutoMagic sees that I may need a comma in front of yes. Pressing a comma would quickly insert the comma in the proper spot. Compound words are another problem. Sometimes it may be that two words need to be joined as one, or that one word needs to be split into two. Pressing choice 1 here corrects this unintended compound. This should have been she was out standing in the field. A typing error occurred, and the faint underlining in red is calling that to your attention as you type. The correction is also being offered on the AutoMagic list. Just press 9. AutoMagic also integrates type over tracking. My Steno for Technological and my Steno for Tool are very close to one another, so I tend to replace one of these words with the other. Eclipse tracks that type over, and AutoMagic offers it as a choice. If I press 7, that makes the correction. And here again, AutoMagic is watching for punctuation that might need to be inserted. One last correction here. Let's assume that this is not misspelled, but the reporter didn't have an alphabet that included hyphens. Pressing 3 would stitch with hyphens. Pressing 4 would actually correct the spelling. If I just go back, pressing 3 would now stitch this spelling. These are just some of the ways that AutoMagic takes advantage of the spelling checker and type over tracking features built into Eclipse.
Pretty simple stuff. Not real hard, but kind of.
Let's see some of the ways that AutoMagic helps you prevent spelling errors as you work. Word reversals are just one of the small problems that AutoMagic understands.
So Shift R reverses the words. So if you're in a job, just try it. Get on a word and just push Shift R. Just put it on any word. It doesn't really matter. Any word, Shift R. And all it does is reverse it. Push Shift R again. And just puts it back. So all it's going to do is just reverse those two words. Okay? Pretty neat, other than having to delete, tab over, in, type in the word. Ridiculous. You just saved yourself about a minute and a half. A minute and a half, and you keep doing it, adds up. Okay? So it's pretty neat.
That AutoMagic understands. This question should have been, is she still working there? Pressing 5 is a fast way to reverse these words.
That AutoMagic, if we kind of go back,
words.
It's kind of neat because it gives you the option here. It already knows, you know what? It doesn't sound right the way it is. It kind of does, but it doesn't. But it's like, well, did you mean to do this? Sometimes it's looking at the way that you stroked. You know, did you mean something else? So sometimes it'll give you that option of changing it, reversing the word. So then all you have to do, instead of doing Shift R, all you do is press number 5. So it just always gives you options as to what you can do. It's for doing the same thing, but it just kind of gives you a different option.
This should have been working, but I need a different suffix. Pressing 2.
A lot of times it'll give you this too. If you're on a word, you tab over to the word, it'll say, you know what? Did you mean that? Did you mean that? Because it came out here. It came out works, but maybe you wanted to change the suffix. Maybe you accidentally stroked it wrong. It was supposed to be working. Is she still working? Not, is she still works there? Some people do talk like that, but not this time. They were wanting to say working. So all you have to do is press number 2, brings up the box, push G, it's good. Or you just stay on the word, keep your hands on the home keys like Eclipse tells you to do, push W, box comes up, push G, it changes it to working. Okay?
Do here would be a fast way to pick suffix ing. Here's another suffix problem. This should have been on the form. Yes. Pressing 3 makes that correction. And now Automagic sees that I may need a comma in front of yes.
So it's giving you the options up there of, is this what you want to do? All different possibilities of what you could do. And there's so many different possibilities. Did you want to add the Y? Was it supposed to be yeah, ye, whatever, why? Or did you want to change the punctuation? And you can. You can hit on one, hit the comma, it puts it in there, or just go to the word, push comma, and it automatically puts it there. But it's always kind of thinking ahead, always kind of thinking for you. Okay? Make sense?
Pressing a comma would quickly insert the comma in the proper spot. Compound words are another problem. Sometimes it may be that
here, I'm sure y'all understand what it's doing. It's giving you the option of making it 2 different words. And it is supposed to be 2 different words. She wasn't outstanding in the field. She wasn't great in the field. She was outstanding in the field. Just standing there. She wasn't outstanding. So be careful, when you proofread too, because it takes on a totally different meaning by keeping them together. And a lot of times Automagic will pick it up and it'll say, you know what? Is that what you meant? Because it doesn't make sense there, but that's what you stroked. That's what you have it defined as. But did you mean that? Okay?
2 words need to be joined as one, or that one word needs to be split into 2. Pressing choice 1 here corrects this unintended compound. This should have been she was outstanding in the field.
What they're telling you right here is that it knows that field is not a word. And it tells you that because it's underlined. So any words that you have that are underlined, you need to hit spell check and find out if it's spelled correctly, because more than likely it's not. Okay? And maybe it's an acronym for something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it is spelled that way and it doesn't recognize the word. Then you leave it like that. It could be a proper word. It's going to do it on proper names too. So on proper names that it doesn't recognize, that aren't in your dictionary, it's going to do that too. And it may be correct. It just doesn't recognize it, so it's going to underline it. But it knows that field really doesn't fit there. So it gives you the option of changing it. But it writes it correctly because that's what you stroked. Okay? So it's gonna put what you put there. But it may not be correct. So it gives you different options.
A typing error occurred, and the faint underlining in red is calling that to your attention as you type. The correction is also being offered on the Automagic list. Just press 9. Automagic also integrates type over tracking. My Steno for Technological and my Steno for Tool are very close to one.
So what it's telling you here is if maybe you do them the same. Maybe Technological is supposed to be TOEL. Maybe it is TOL. Maybe that's your stroke or brief for Technological. If it is, that's fine. It put it there. But it's like, well, it could be tool because it's very close. So it's very close to the brief that you have, but that is your brief for Technological. So I'm going to put Technological there because that's what you put. But did you mean tool? Did you mean toll? Did you mean to will? It's always thinking for you. The more you use it, the more it gets to know how you write and how you think. So it's helping you by using it more. I've already told you guys this. Don't use that in that much. There are times you have to, that you just have to insert some stuff, push in, insert it. It's not learning anything from that, guys. It's not learning anything. So, but there are times that you have to do it. I mean, you know, you just misstroke something and you need to put something in there, or you drop something and it just needs to go in there. That's what that's for. Other than that, use that software because it's going to learn from what you're doing.
Another. So I tend to replace one of these words with the other. Eclipse tracks that type over, and Automagic offers it as a choice. If I press 7, that makes the correction. And here again, Automagic is watching for punctuation that might need to be inserted. One last correction here. Let's...
Right here, say you're in a deposition, whatever. They ask you to spell, or they ask that witness to spell the name of the town that they're from. Lafayette. Well, guess what? He or she doesn't know how to spell it. Not your job to correct them. Not your job to correct them. Okay? If that's the way they spelled it, you leave it like that. Okay? Especially if it's video. Especially if it's video. Okay? Because video, they're going to go back and watch it and they're going to know she spelled it like that. So it's not your job to clean them up. Okay? They spell it wrong, they spell it wrong. Maybe that is the name of the town. Maybe it is. And it knows it, and maybe it's a totally different town. Maybe it's not Lafayette, Louisiana. Maybe it's Lafayette, North Dakota. I've never heard of it. Maybe it is a little town there. That's the way they spell it there. Well, you know what? You were trying to be a genius and put it the way they spell it in Louisiana. Well, you just messed it up. Okay? So it's not your job to clean them up. You just write what they say. Okay? And there's a way, and it's...
Assume that this is not misspelled, but the reporter didn't have an alphabet that included hyphens. Pressing 3 would stitch with hyphens. Press...
That's what it's doing right there. It's giving you the option of, did they spell it out? And like mine, what it does, and it still doesn't stitch when I do it. It just kind of spells it out. So all it does is do it in caps, but it puts the spaces in here. So it'd be L space, A space, F, whatever. So that's the way it does it to mine. But Automagic already gives me that option. So all I have to do is press number 3. I don't have to worry about stitching it. It'll do it for me. Okay? If you spelled it wrong, and she was just spelling it, you know, it was Lafayette. You're just going, you're embarrassed. Maybe she was going too fast. You didn't ask her to stop, slow down, repeat it again, and you're just like, I got it. I got it. Well, you left off, you know, one of the T's over here. You just, you know, you thought you had it. You thought you were doing pretty good, but you left off a T. No big deal. It gives you the option of spelling it correctly. Push number 4. 4 comes here, spelled correctly. Now it's going to give you this option up here with the correction of do you want to stitch it. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, tell me, because it's kind of important. Does that make sense? Okay.
Pressing 4 would actually correct the spelling. If I just go back, pressing 3 would now stitch.
And you see what it did? The first one had 1 T. Now it has 2 T's, and now it stitched it. Okay?
This spelling. These are just some of the ways that Automagic takes advantage of the spelling checker and type over tracking features built into Eclipse.
Any questions? Excellent. Hmm? Scratch it. Okay, that's the end, guys. I think that's all I'm going to give you today. Use the stuff that we did today. And if you haven't been using the stuff that we've gone over in the past, go back and do those tutorials again. Okay? We're going to have a test next week.